The Church has demonstrated beyond any doubt that it is the world child abuse champion. In Australia, the Church has been the object of a royal commission, and patterns of systematic abuse were uncovered. This included the Church protecting the abusers by moving them to other parishes where they could abuse more. And it did happen. The priests who abused and raped children were moved to other areas and continued the sexual abuse, and in some cases, they continued for decades. There were enclaves of abuse, such as in the Ballarat region, which is close to Melbourne in Australia, where the rate of abuse by the Church was several-fold greater than the average at the time in the broad community. We're going to leave aside the question of morality and whether drawing your ethical standards from the moral pronouncement of the Bible or any other religious book for that matter, whether it makes you more likely to be a good person than not. Here, quite obviously, it has not really worked. Those who say that the Bible is a bastion of morality should remember what many priests did to children. Some of those children committed suicide because they could no longer hold the pain of the terrifying abuse perpetrated on them. If you think that the Bible is some kind of gateway to doing good, you have it here. It's a huge exception. And don't give me the heaven or hell bullshit. The only purpose of heaven or hell is to make you feel good about justifying a barbaric morality. If you had any sense of morality, you would toss your book into the trash and wake up to what you are really supporting. What is really upsetting is to see some church groups use the Bible as the backbone to creating an environment where the sexual abuse of kids cannot be punished. The Jehovah Witnesses were exposed by the Australian Royal Commission as having the most unreasonable of internal processes to deal with child abuse. First, they had a policy of not reporting anything to the police. Second, and as part of any investigation of child abuse, they would make the victim face the abuser. Third, they had rules that prevented women from taking part in any shape or form to the investigation. You see, the best way to investigate perverts must be to have other perverts investigate them. And it did happen. Some of the investigators of child abuse were later found to be abusers themselves. And finally, with the Jehovah Witnesses, they required 2 witnesses to establish child abuse. In other words, if there were only one witness to the abuse, it was insufficient to prove the case. When asked by the Commission why they would not change their rules even to this day, the Jehovah Witnesses answered that their rules are based directly on the Scriptures and thus could not be changed. This is why some religious books are the equivalent of a brain bypass. It is obvious to just about everyone that the process of investigating child sexual abuse should be protective of the alleged victim. Instead, they made the poor kids jump through barbed wire, and if they were still standing after that, they had to go through a minefield where for years the now adult children battled through the revolting church processes, and many did not survive to see recognition of wrongdoing by the church and some form of apology and compensation. Next time I see Jehovah Witnesses, I will ask them if they witnessed the abuse of children by pedophiles within their own ranks. I will ask them if they witnessed the suffering of abused kids who were re-traumatized during the investigation. I will ask them if they witnessed the delayed tactics used during the investigations to ensure that the abused would go to their grave before receiving an apology. What I would ask them is what kind of moral entity can do this to children.